I tried. Slayer.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to review not Castlevania. This is the Halo 4K update for Xbox One X. That's right, doing this review about 3 months after the update was published, which makes this the second most timely review we've done on this channel. Hooray! And I gotta say, from the very first moment I hit that power button for the third time in this entire collection now, my inner, edgy, mid-2000s kid that has been repressed since then was finally starting to emerge again. And let me tell you, it was a good feeling. Yes. Until this happened. Yeah, I felt like playing some multiplayer, but evidently Xbox Live was having some issues at the time. Hooray. Okay, what am I paying for anyway? Ah well, let's go to single player. I did some digging around in the menus, and as it turns out, I didn't finish the final chapter in the first Halo, so let's do this. Playing through the last chapter actually is a great comprendum. It's a great consolidated experience because they wanted you to have all the fun of, you know, the previous chapters in the final chapter. Let me first say, these visuals, jeez, man. Even if you told me I was going to be playing the original Halo at 10 times the resolution, how it looked to begin with on the old Panasonic tube TV from around the same time period, 2004-2005, if you told me it would look 10 times better, I wouldn't believe you. But if you also told me that some other company would be doing a retexture pack twice on this, I would be floored. It looks like a completely different game. But it plays the same. Everything I remember. It still works. Chest shots for shotguns. Throwing grenades into those little fins has always been a bit of a pain with those sentinels. And of course I'm playing it on a higher difficulty than I was back then, so I am of course having more trouble. The downsides though, those repressed downsides, the main thing that I remember came flooding back to me when I was driving the Warthog through that narrow segment at the very end. I forgot how crap driving a Warthog was in a narrow segment. Driving a Warthog in the field is awesome. Doing this, yes, pretty aggravating. I mean, the sound design... Actually, let's go with the sound design for a second. There's a small glitch error in sound design, specifically in this last chapter of the first game. Doesn't happen anywhere else. Basically, the cutscene music continues to play after the cutscene is done. I mean, Martin O'Donnell's music is good and all, it's fantastic, but it doesn't need to drown out what's going on around you. I don't remember ever hearing any droning going on while I was playing the original version, and I looked it up on the internet. It is a confirmed glitch that still hasn't been patched. 5 years later, still haven't patched it. And it was pretty funny to hear 2 songs play at one time during the campaign. That was quite awesome. But yes, this update was very much worth it, especially if if you're an old Halo fan like me, you want to play the trilogies, potentially get in on a little ODST. You don't have to play 4, but you can if you want to. You already have it. Biggest duh statement of the year. So yes, graphics and sound department. The sound actually could use a little bit of tweaking though. I found the background music to be a bit too loud, and there's no separate volume slider for the video game background music. There is for the menu, which makes no sense because there's nothing else going on during the menu screen. But in-game volume cannot be adjusted. At least I haven't found it yet. If somebody could point me to a slider, that would be fantastic. Gameplay, exactly the same as I said before. I've run into a few frame drops, but it was hard to tell because I don't have my Xbox One signal split between a television and a monitor. So I'm playing this through the capture card right now, and maybe the capture card or maybe the hard drive dropped a frame or 2. I don't know. We could put that in a margin of error, but it does run silky smooth. I can definitely tell what's going on, and it has no trouble staying in the high 50s. Luckily, later that night, multiplayer started working again, so hats off to Microsoft for fixing that issue. Now here we go. Multiplayer, baby. When you played this game at your prime, I'm pretty sure this was where you spent 90% of the gameplay time, was on multiplayer. And I'm very glad to say that the network reliability issues that they had in the past before this update are finally fixed. That's right, you can now join games and join them a little more quickly than I remember, though not quite as fast as, back in the heyday, but I'm pretty sure that's because less people are playing the game. I mean, I'm playing this during the first week of Red Dead Redemption 2. The mere fact that I could join games this fast was pretty impressive. But anyway, I didn't have a mic plugged in, and I don't have anybody's chat dialogue going to the speaker audio. But I don't think it matters that much anymore because now parties are a thing. The Xbox One managed parties versus the in-game lobby chat, which did a lot for toxicity in the online community. That was one of the awesome things about poring over the tapes back then, was seeing how stupid we were being on the voice chat back in the mid-2000s. Pro tip. It was very stupid. Anyway, online play, it felt different. Indeed, I had this whole internal dialogue going in my head. Whether it's different technically or not, on a very brass technical level, is it different or not?
It's not the same!
Well, of course it's not the same.
You're comparing playing on an old tube TV from 2005 to playing on a modern 4K display with HDR. Of course it's not going to be the same. Well, I kind of feel like that, you know, it should feel the same despite the technical upgrades of the time. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. What is that even supposed to mean? Well, what if they built in compensation for network latency and, you know, display input lag? What about that? It should barely matter. Maybe a millisecond or two tops. But Bran, a millisecond can mean the difference between getting killed or not getting killed. Yes, I see it. I do see it, but still, that does make it feel a bit different. Wait a minute. What the hell kind of battalion is this anyway?
Because I kept getting my ass handed to me. Part of me wanted to blame it on the old guy thing, where I'm like, okay, it's like 13 years later, and I might actually suck more at the game than I did back in the day. Very real, and not a totally discounted thing. But I wanted to blame it on somebody else because that's the very nature of human existence. It's always somebody else's fault, it's not mine. But as I was poring over the tapes for this review, I just kind of realized that I never really wasn't fantastic at the game. I was great at Rumble, though. Rumble BR, I was always the top of that. But Team Slayer, I mean, it really doesn't matter, just as long as you keep your kills above your deaths. Otherwise, you're costing the team. And I never really went so far over my death rating, or over my kill rating. But I still want to say it feels different. But again, it goes back to that whole existential thing and me playing it as a teen versus me playing it as a 30-year-old. It's gonna feel different. I just have to accept that. But it's nice to have this varied mix of old and new. Like, playing those graveyard matches from the original Halo, you pretty much know what to do there. Everybody bust out their pistol and have a good time. Yes, old and new. They don't let you choose, which would be fantastic if they did. Classic versus anniversary. It's awesome to have this jumbled mix of games, like, because each one feels a bit different. That's why they put the little moniker down at the bottom left corner of the screen, because you get into that mindset of, okay, this is a Halo 3 map, okay, this is a Halo 4 map, and that thing. It's been so long since I last played this that I had to get used to the notion of a loadout in a Halo game on Halo 4, because I never played the multiplayer on Halo 4 except for this. So, yes, it has been that long. I'm used to having to scrounge for the weapons on the map. And of course, it's nice not having a bunch of trash talk anymore. I mean, call it a millennial thing, but anytime you go back and watch some of that old school, oh my god, I had the voices going through the TV speakers and watched it and recorded it, you kind of cringe at what you were saying back then. At least I do. I haven't found anybody to play co-op with me yet, though, but I'm sure it's just as awesome as it was back then. So a few final thoughts. For one, this package always gave me great hope about companies being able to faithfully execute a port. For so long, during the 2000s, we have had port after nauseating port. It's terrible. But 343 can pull it off. And it was pretty ambitious. I knew the matchmaking was going to be hit or miss, it was a pretty ambitious project to make all that work without, you know, some technical glitches along the way. It's just too bad they knuckle dragged on trying to fix it. But I bought this mainly for the campaign, and multiplayer came in a close second. I've always enjoyed the Halo campaign. But yeah, it gives me hope that other companies can do good ports. That's all I ask. Konami, looking at you. And in order to make this absolutely perfect, they could do a up-res job on Halo Reach, offer it as an add-on, and then for the final coup de grace, make it available on PC, please. I just want to play an up-res Halo on PC.
Analyzing.
Welcome to the Microsoft Fetch 'em Force, where we fetch 'em for ya.